Keir Starmer once styled himself, in fact, not so long ago, literally in the election campaign, he styled himself as the pensioners' advocate, a leader determined to safeguard their welfare. Listen to this.
And then putting it back on the shelf.
Yeah.
And now you could say, okay, that's not the biggest thing in the world.
Well, it is,
but actually it is when you
Yeah.
just feel, after having worked all your life, I can't just lead the life I want to lead now, or I can't do things I even did a year ago. That's the sense of insecurity, I think, that eats away at people.
Yet his actions now suggest a starkly different reality. His 3 hits that Labour has delivered to the elderly. This is a group of people often considered the backbone of Britain's society, and Chancellor Rachel Reeves' decision to restrict winter fuel payment to pensioners receiving credit has left 10 million pensioners in the cold, which starts to bite today, both figuratively and literally, saving 1.5 billion at the expense of these vulnerable individuals. This measure will push 50,000 pensioners into poverty annually by 2026. While Starmer insists this is prioritising the NHS and public services, the optics are damning. Pensioners like Maxine, who called into BBC Radio Lincolnshire, pleaded, how will he live with this? It underscores the human toll. Energy bills have tripled since 2020, and for many, I told you I was ill. That extraordinary statement by what's his name? The Goons man. Anyway, has literally become an epitaph. Spike Milligan. The scrapping of the proposed £86,000 cap on social care, in addition, signals yet another betrayal. Without a cap, many elderly individuals must liquidate lifelong assets to afford care, decimating the very savings that they hope to leave behind. This reversal lacks the promised equality impact assessment, leaving pensioners trapped in financial uncertainty while Labour extends public sector pay hikes. And Labour's abandonment of its pledge to compensate the Women Against State Pension Inequality, the WASPI Women campaign. It's arguably the most cynical move. These women, blindsided by the accelerated pension age hike, rallied under the promise of a fair and fast compensation, and Starmer's election victory swiftly killed that dream, leaving campaigners in despair. If you're a farmer, the assault doesn't end there. Labour's plan to impose inheritance tax on farms valued over £1 million or $3 million for couples compounds the pain. And Starmer's dismissive tone, claiming most farms won't be affected, ignores the financial reality of small family farms that fall within this bracket, forcing generational farmers to sell their cherished land. And all this while we see images of Keir Starmer frolicking in the Madeira sun. Starmer justifies all the decisions by invoking this 22 billion black hole inherited from the Conservatives. That hasn't been challenged because the Conservatives are now led by foolish sheep or goats that can simply bleat in response. Critics point out that even if there was a 22 billion black hole, which I dispute, by the way, even if there was a 22 billion black hole, there are alternative paths. Windfall tax on fossil fuel companies, halting the HS2 project, this vanity project, this white elephant, or implemented a more nuanced approach to targeting higher rate taxpayers. As pensioners face this bitter winter, Starmer suns himself in Madeira. That is the reality. Kemi Badenoch's sharp critique in PMQs rings true, even if her delivery was useless. Labour's mean-tested systems undermines the principle of universal support, risking both lives and Labour's electoral chances. Labour's actions speak louder than Starmer's carefully crafted pre-election videos. Pensioners may not forget this triple blow, if they live. And come the next election, they might well have the posthumous last laugh, as Spike Milligan's gravestone reads, "I told you I was ill." It's a sad reflection that only that supreme sacrifice of death is going to is going to hit home the reality of what Starmer is doing. Because this isn't Labour. This is nastiness, this is spitefulness. And this is hurting people who put their faith, put their trust in Labour, hurting students, hurting farmers, hurting the fishing community, hurting pensioners. And at the same time, continuing the parody of parliamentary authority by promising to pay the post office, the windfall, the Grenfell, the infected blood people, and still doing nothing. This is a criticism not of Labour, not of the Conservatives, but of the entire parliamentary system, which has somehow grown up, which has somehow become enmeshed in deceit as a way of governing. And that is not what we elected. That's not what we should be having. It's just wrong. It's wrong to be promising one thing